Yeah, I mean, obviously L.A. the whole deal.
Yeah.
But
does Keyshawn know Tupac?
Interactions with him in the mid '90s, and so when I got drafted in '96 at the House of Blues, that was on Sunset at the time.
By the way, you went #1 overall.
Yeah, and he and a bunch of other artists was commissioned to perform there. So, you know, it was crazy though. It was, I don't know, 2,000, 2,500 people jam-packed inside the House of Blues. So you had like West Side Connect, Ice Cube and Company. You had
Can you imagine?
Death Row. You had Tupac. You had, you know,
Yes,
MC Hammer, Snoop Dogg, Suge Knight. You had all
Snoop
them
Dogg had probably
in the
those
house.
braids.
You had Prime. Dion was in the
balls
house.
hanging down.
The late Lawrence Phillips, Kid and Play was in the house. Ice-T was in the house. I mean, it was a bunch of. It was fun.
You're legendary.
No, I'm not.
Look at that.
It's an LA thing, though, Skip.
Yeah.
It's really what it is. You got a kid from the streets of Los Angeles being drafted #1 overall, going to New York. I mean, it's an urban street thing.
Huh. Would you have wanted to be him? Because a lot of those guys would love to have been you.
I can't rap, but yeah.
Yeah.
Because swag has become a thing.
They want to be
swag
us.
was way back when. Pac had swag.
No.
Way back when.
Oh, did he?
Now all of a sudden you're starting to see a duplicate of that.
Yeah.
You know, from 20 plus years ago.
But you were born with it too.
I mean, you know. Hey, it is what it is, right? It is what it is, baby.
All right, back to business, back to my Cowboys. A poll of NFL.com experts has Micah Parsons, Micah, winning Defensive Player of the Year over
I can definitely see this happening.
Watt and Myles Garrett.
T.J. Watt, though, I don't know.
Bosa fourth. Keyshawn, will Micah win DPOY?
It depends if TJ can stay healthy, but I think Micah wins either way.
He will this year.
Yeah, it's his third year.
He started off hot last year, then he tends to fade a little bit at times. But I think he
Remember last year when he was supposed to come on Undisputed?
The focus is there now, right? He's a little bit older. He understands what it is to play
What a
in the
weird
National
situation
Football
that
League.
was.
Think about when he first got drafted. He missed
for like 2
whole
months.
year playing at Penn State.
Micah.
He didn't play.
And they made a theme song for Micah.
He has to
and then they lost
week
1 to the Buccaneers, and it was just like,
so he's a little wiser now.
we don't know where Micah is.
Plus,
he's just not
the
answering our calls anymore.
Better in
we sent out a whole crew
you talk about Stephon Gilmore.
Set up a studio at his house or something like that so he could easily hop on the show.
And Hooker, that secondary holds up, right?
Donovan Wilson.
Wilson. So now when you think about that secondary holding up, it allows Micah Parsons to get to the quarterback even more.
I think the Cowboys are going to have the best defense, too, which definitely
5-6 sacks as coverage
helps.
sacks. He'll get those because of the secondary. So he'll compile the numbers from a year ago where he was 7th in the league with 13.5 sacks. And if I'm giving him 6 or 7 more sacks this year, he's over 20.
Okay. This man is the key to this season for me.
Wow.
I need this man to take a giant step into superstardom that I hoped he would take last year. And for whatever reason, he wore down. Maybe he's still a little light in the britches. He said he put on 10-ish pounds of muscle. Maybe that will help him endure. But he starts off hot last year, has 8 sacks in 7 games, and then he, to your point, he just tails off. And over the final 10 games, he has 5.5. And it got less and less and less. And in the game at San Francisco, it's it. He got Brady once in the game that they won and sent him into the sunset. But at San Francisco, he was just too quiet.
He got like
for
2
me.
or 3.
You look across the stat board.
That was probably 2. The opening night against
no hits on the quarterback.
Brady.
Nothing. He did not wreck the game the way he can wreck a game, and that's the game you got to wreck against Brock Purdy, obviously out there. I think he has the capability of being the leader of the team. And as you know, in the history of this league, it's rare that a defensive player is the team leader. You can go back to LT, where you just take it over. You are the man in the locker room, and everybody sort of looks to you as the final arbiter. You have the loudest, biggest, strongest voice. I need Micah, still a baby to me by NFL years and terms, to rise and shine this year and take the team over from Dak. I have never thought of Dak as a natural-born leader. He talks a good game, but to be the leader of this team, you have to live up to, you have to make the plays that qualify you and continue to validate you as the leader. And I don't think this team looks to him as the guy they trust to make the play, sort of, so to speak, in the locker room and then on the field in the fourth quarter?
You are going off his youth. He was young a year ago. So he's older now. Plus you add a guy like Stephon Gilmore, an older guy who understands. You got Curse, a little older. So now everybody's a little bit older.
Yeah.
Offensively, Dak Prescott is the leader on the offensive side of the ball. And I would probably say Micah Parsons along with Stephon Gilmore.
Oh, it's easily Stephon Gilmore.
The leaders on that defensive side of the ball. And that's what you need. You can't have one guy in a locker room like a defensive player trying to lead the 53. It won't work. You know, when I won my Super Bowl, Derrick Brooks, Hall of Famer Derrick Brooks.
I know him well.
Was the leader on both sides of the ball. But we still had leaders on the offensive side of the ball. So we knew, okay, we could turn to such and such if we needed to do whatever. If we need to do something, we got this guy over here to be able to do it.
Because
and I think
Brad Johnson wasn't the team leader.
He's a quarterback. He just doesn't, he doesn't, I mean, to a degree, Brad would be vocal and express things that he needed to.
Yeah.
Obviously, I would as well, but you had guys like Mike Allstott and things of that nature on the offensive side. Defensively, it started with Derrick Brooks. Then we had the Warren Sapps and the Rondé Barbers, and that's what Dallas is, Simeon Rice's, and that's what Dallas is coming with. They're slowly but surely building that type of continuity. You think about Dan Quinn, and you think about what happened out in Seattle. Defensively, they had leaders, whether it was the Bobby Warrens of the world, the Richard Shermans of the world, the Earl Thomases of the world, Cam Chancellors of the world. They had a leadership group over there, and I think Dallas is now, to a degree, have gotten that over in Dallas, and that's really all you can ask for.
Okay.
And he knows that everybody's watching. A year ago, at the beginning of the season, everybody was saying the next LT, the next LT, the next LT. No, it didn't turn out that way, and he knows that. So I'm sure he's gonna come back with fire breathing out his nose, ready to go.
Ray Lewis also, 2000. He was the leader of
but Ray Lewis is a different type of leader, though.
He's
he's just an animal.
There's not very many people like Ray in professional sports.
Rare. But you got Trent Dilfer at quarterback, so it's So I need Micah to be more
Ray's like a Dion
of that ilk. I need him to start raising his voice in the locker room because I believe he's capable of it. But from what I saw of Nick Bosa, I have no idea how he's fourth on this list because I'm just going to flat out say it. He was just better than Micah last year, especially down the stretch. I know he didn't put up big numbers stat-wise in that game either, but he was a game wrecker last year for them. He got to be Charles Haley-like. He got to be unblockable, and I have not seen that from Micah because they still have.
Well, Micah started the season, though, Skip, in all fairness, he was unblockable. But also, you got to take into consideration, as I try to tell people.
Yeah, Micah started off really hot last year.
You do realize
maybe if he had just come on
Undisputed. Sit in
Undisputed.
those rooms with the gray hair and all they do is sit there with the pens and the computers. They try to figure out how to scheme against you to stop you from wrecking and doing those sort of things. Now you have to, a year later, combat that off-season, study, understand, okay, this is what they're doing to me. And hopefully, and I know he is because of Dan Quinn.
Yeah, he was really butthurt over that Leonard Fournette hit last year, too.
Right, Skip? Then he faded.
When they were just sending a guy to block him.
His fading is not necessarily due to lack of trying. They started running at him. Okay, they started running at him, not away from him. And so when teams start scheming against you, it's a little bit different. Now, you got to counter that.
They still have an identity crisis with this kid because Dan Quinn is still obsessed with his jack of all trades, where they still drop him off the line of scrimmage because he can run, man.
He's good.
Yeah, you see him in these off-season races. He'll race anybody. He's faster than Trevon Diggs. They went up against each other. I don't think Trevon was.
He's like the Anthony
hard,
Edwards of the
Micah
NFL.
Can fly.
That's what I'm getting
or
from
whatever
this.
he is. Is he 260-ish now, somewhere in that range?
Yeah, he's big.
Yeah, but my point is, Dan Quinn is obsessed with being able to drop him into coverage because there are times, I'm going back 2 years ago, he's covering wideouts down all the way to the goal line.
Because he can, that's part of the scheme. You want him to, what you want him to do, you want him to go get the quarterback every single time. You want him to pin his ears back and go get the quarterback. In this scheme, that's not the case. What happens is, if you're going to drop him, somebody else has got to go get the quarterback. It becomes a confusion game. Dan Quinn has a job to do, which is confuse the offensive coordinator and the quarterback. If I'm just lining him up and saying, go get the quarterback, I can find Micah Parsons. Where's Micah? Oh, there he is. all we got to do is slide the protection that way.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, but I'm looking behind you in the monitor, and I see a bunch of palm trees. Micah Parsons don't grow on those palm trees, right?
No.
Micah Parsons are hard to find
Yes.
because in the end, it's about the quarterback, and it's about getting to the quarterback
Yes.
and disrupting his timing. As you said earlier in the show, Dak couldn't step into the throw. In his rookie year, Micah was so unblockable at given moments that I said, just put his hand in the dirt and keep it there. Not that they play in
he may
dirt,
not have
but
the
just
sack
put his
numbers
hand down, because
of a Bosa or a
nobody can
Watt
stop that,
this
and,
year,
and I can't
if he's gonna
find
be
it.
doing more coverage
he
that way, but
changed life his rookie year more than he
I'm sure
did
that'll be
last
taken
year.
into consideration
And then
when they
last
go
year
to
they
vote for
continued to
Defensive Player of the Year.
They even went up to that
I think
game
Mike has a
talking about
monster
Green
year.
Bay
I mean,
where they
he's
led
in his third year.
28-14.
This is
They played him
the
off
time to
line
get
of
it going.
scrimmage, I think 70% of the snaps.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, what are you doing? Because in the fourth quarter, you know who took back over? Aaron Rodgers took the game back over, and we ended up losing in overtime because Micah was no factor.
Yeah, but but the thing is though, Skip, if in the Green Bay game he's playing 70% off and you're up 28, whatever was working at that point in time obviously worked.
Yeah.
And from a defensive standpoint, when head coach or coaches are trying to scheme a certain game plan,
Yeah.
they know the strengths and the weaknesses to a degree of what that offense is capable of doing. So I'm not down when they say, hey, you got to drop, or we want to move you to middle linebacker and let somebody else rush on certain downs. Because if you line him up in one spot
Yeah.
every single time,
yeah, they're gonna figure
you
it
may
out.
get there once or twice, but at some point that offensive side is going to adjust. But if I can play poker with you, move you around and play games, now I'm confusing the other side.
I know.
You don't
Lawrence-
like it, though, I
Hey,
get
hey,
it.
listen, Lawrence Taylor, I know you're old enough to have seen him,
Oh,
right?
yeah, absolutely.
Hey, I know he moved some, but mostly he just went over there and stood up on that right side of the line of scrimmage, and he said, "Just come get me, because I'm coming to get you, and you can send
But the
three
game,
after me."
game has changed.
You just can't
now,
stop me.
right? The blocking schemes have changed. They just have changed.
Hey.
Blocking schemes have totally changed.
Once upon a time in the 1990s with my Cowboys, Jerry Jones pulled off a steal of a deal for Charles Haley, and it changed life because
understand.
Charles Haley was flat out unblockable.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
If you accepted DeMarcus Ware's style in Dallas,
Yeah.
if they did that with Micah Parsons all the time, would you be happy?
I just think he's that good. He needs to mature physically, and I think he is.
But if he gave
Yes.
you what DeMarcus Ware gave the Cowboys,
You're talking about a defensive end where you line up
Yeah,
a defensive
you
end
would
and
accept
you
that.
rush the pass. Well, especially if you can lead the league in sacks doing
Mm-hmm.
that, where you commit 100%, you are a pass rusher. Again,
so you want him
Okay.
in his style to commit 100% of the time, even though he's light in the rear end.
a little
in
bit. But again,
comparison-
is he going to grow up? Is he going to grow into his body where he gets
Absolutely.
like
Yeah.
Charles? did you know
Von
Charles
Miller,
Haley?
Von Miller's not a big guy, and
Okay, he's
neither-
not.
and
He's
neither
not.
is
I've
Khalil
seen
Mack.
I've seen Von out at the golf course where I play at Brentwood. The point is, Charles Haley, I knew him well. You see him around the locker room. He wasn't any physical specimen. I don't think he weighed.
Charles pretty big.
No, he's a big man, but he wasn't a weightlifter, or
No,
he
no.
didn't look like. He didn't look like.
didn't look like
he could
Bosa.
wreck the game. No, Lord, no. My point is, Charles Haley, they put two
Just
on
call
him
him
every
Fat
time he'd
Skip.
line up on the left side, and he would just split the double team because he was too quick and strong.
Micah-
Why would I go to the weight room?
Skip, Micah
Why I
can
go to
do
McDonald's
more
and put on a
things
few
than
pounds,
Charles.
and then it'd be even
He's
harder to
such
move
a
me.
freak of nature.
is-
He can cover down
Yeah.
if you need him to drop out and maybe in a disguise coverage play some
Maybe.
corner.
Or maybe
All
not
he
even
can do
McDonald's,
those
just go
things.
eat
So what you wanna do
3,000
is take
calories
advantage of
somewhere.
that.
Yeah.
You want to take advantage. You don't want to be stale. And everybody knows, okay, this is what they're doing. They're going to line him up on the left-hand side. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to slide the protection. We're going to bring the tight end over. We're going to chip him. I need the tight end to chip him, to tackle the fan out, and I need the back before he gets out in the free
Yeah.
release to chip him as well.
Okay, and then the other issue is because you are a little light in the britches, people run the ball right at you
Yes.
and successfully.
Yes.
So I got that. Do I think he's going to be Defensive Player of the Year? I don't. I hope he takes one more step, but it's hard for me to bet against Nick Bosa right now. I know he's got a
no
contractual
contract.
snafu going.
Yeah, they'll get
but
that done.
They will get
He'll
it
be
done.
rich in a couple days.
Yeah, well, and he earned it, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Ooh, did he? All right, enough of the Cowboys for the moment. Will we ever again see James
I don't know. I think Micah
Harden
has a really good
in
shot
a
Defensive Player of the Year.
76ers uniform? Rachel Nichols joins us